And I think, being opportunistic about it is probably the best thing to do. I think we've accumulated decent enough assets that, if we can just manage those till the, till the cows come home, we'll be pretty happy and live a much better life than I think either one of us have managed. Yeah. Again, I don't own the most by any stretch, but I own enough that, we're
right. I think ego-driven people are fine doing things themselves, and people that don't necessarily care so much about their ego are fine working as a team.
Right.
And you work as a team, you can do way more. And I have noticed that with One South is there's often multiple people in the deal, multiple people.
I think Tom still carries that forward too. Almost
for
everything
sure.
that they do, there's absolutely a sharing environment over there. Again, we try to bring it to our side. On the individual housing stuff, it doesn't, lend itself necessarily to multiple people working, although we do have some smaller teams.
Right.
But, I think for the most part, just especially on the projects, we would collaborate. And I think it just drove a lot of that, kind of culture being good. Pride and workmanship, but just low ego.
Right. We touched on this a little bit earlier, but how did you balance your personal investing or with partnerships or whatever, but like buying your own investment assets and also growing this empire of a brokerage?
Empire is a little bit of a strong word, but I appreciate it. I don't know that we did do a great job of it. I mean, I think, again, it's been more recently where we probably started to pay a little more attention to the investment side of things, because so much of the administrative burden is now gone from, when we moved on to this new platform. So it's freed us up to maybe look at, and we've done actually a couple of things that have been kind of, pretty fruitful. Kind of makes you raise your eye and go, should I be doing more of that? And I think, being opportunistic about it is probably the best thing to do. I think we've accumulated decent enough assets that, if we can just manage those till the, till the cows come home, we'll be pretty happy and live a much better life than I think either one of us have managed. Yeah. Again, I don't own the most by any stretch, but I own enough that, we're
right.
We're
Yeah,
good.
and there's always the argument of like, do you want to own 100 or own 20, or do you want to own 1,000 or own 100? Like,
Yeah.
I'm sort of the guy that like the lower number is fine as long as they're good assets in the right position with high equity and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So 2023, after however many years in business, I mean, you started One South in 2008. So 2023, you and Tom had discussed de-risking the business, and the residential side would move to Samson, and then One South Commercial remains One South Commercial. But then you guys split the properties or like your offices and go to different platforms. Totally amicable, great relationship. What were those conversations like with Tom? Was there a lot of emotion involved, or was it just like you guys knew it had to be done, or like that's a lot of history to kind of unwind there?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I don't really recall it being painful. I mean, we were kind of already running separate P&Ls anyway. We had some shared, common expenses, like we were in the same office, and we had some, employees that, obviously did stuff for both sides of the ledger. But, from just a purely, accounting standpoint, we were pretty much running, our own P&Ls. What's interesting to me is that, a lot of technology got brought to the industry from when we started to where we were today. I mean, it was just an explosion of technology. And commercially, it maybe was even bigger than even residentially. Because, we had MLS and a lot of online forms and things like that. And commercial, they just really didn't have that. And so over time, I think the platforms that they needed and the platforms that we needed just kept getting further and further apart. And so, it just kind of made sense. Like, just their needs and our needs were just kind of, had just evolved to a point where it was just different.
Right.
And so, ultimately, I think when when Samson knocked on the door and I kind of heard the pitch, I'm like, this makes a lot of sense to me. Samson just didn't really have a place for the commercial side yet. They hadn't really grown it or whatever. And so I think ultimately, he and his team got together, had conversations and said, hey, I think we should just kind of go this alone. So, okay. I mean, I was like, I fully understand. Great. And, I still am partners with them. They still manage my stuff. So I just have to drive 5 minutes away instead of walking, down the hall.